Sunset has been added back into the map rotation instead of fracture, which means that everyone forgot how this map works and what to do. Now let me help you take over this map in ranked. If you don't know me, my name is Plops. I'm an Immortal Valorant player that enjoys coaching and analyzing Valorant. And in this video, I'm going to help you dominate Sunset in ranked. Make sure to like and subscribe, and if you want to see what agents I think are broken on Sunset, check out my other latest video. Okay, let's quickly go over how to default Sunset. If your team calls to default on Sunset, what should you be doing? Well, first, you should be placing a smoke top mid and breaking the door. This puts pressure here and here. You should also be trying to take the B main orb for whoever needs it the most, because it's pretty safe and easy to get. If they have a Cypher, you should try and break the trips that are holding B, or if they have a Vise, you should be trying to bait out the wall or trying to get the flash out. You should also have some teammates fight towards A, so that way they can't just hold it for free with only one person. Not only does this push them back, but it keeps two players there, as well as normally gets the one-way smoke out early, so that way you can re-hit it later. Let's start on attack. Tip number 1. How to deal with this stupid one-way. It's super strong because the defenders can see your feet and kill you before you see them. That's why many teams like to push through elbow mainly. But what should you do if your team is struggling to get out of elbow? Should you still be trying to push through this one-way? Well, not exactly. You want to apply pressure towards the one-way side, so that way the person holding can't just hold across with the people of CT. It makes them scared that you could swing out. You can also throw a molly or a vise thorn, so that way the enemy team actually can't get out onto site, and that way that your elbow teammates only have to deal with site and CT. These are the typical setups for teams when they're trying to hold A, and pushing this player off is a lot easier than pushing through the one-way. Also, don't feel scared about just waiting for your util to come back. A is hard to take, so you're going to need util to clear close, as well as elbow. So if you need to wait for your stun or your dart again, just cut noise and wait. Don't be scared if they're going to stack the site, because if you cut noise, they might rotate off just because they're scared of a lurk. And then also, you're going to be better off fighting with your util against more people than with less people, but with less util. Tip number 2. Collect your free kills around the map. Ideally, these kills should be easy to get. If you hear the enemy team closing the door at the beginning of every round, you can flash or stun them and immediately run them down to not only try and get the kill, but get early market control. If someone is playing on site a lot, you can either breach aftershock them, molly, or nade combo with a flash or a stun, which should clear out this player or push them out so that way you can kill them. You can also boombot or drone close towards these angles and stun and kill. There are a lot of one and done angles on this map that you need to clear and can give you a free kill if you catch the enemy off guard. However, if you start to punish them, the enemy team might start to set up kind of trap plays where they either have another teammate ready to swing, bait, or just trade. So just be cautious of teammates swinging and don't tunnel vision on the kills. Tip number 3. Use the market door to your advantage. This doesn't mean break the door every single round. Pick and choose when you break it. If you're hitting A, it might be worth to break it so that way it keeps an enemy towards market, so that way they can't rotate as quickly. Or if you're hitting B, you could break it so the market player has to be worried about site and mid, so that way they can't just spray you through the smoke. You could also leave the door closed and walk up close to it and break it along with a flash or a stun, that way you get the jump on the market player, or they might not even be in there because they might think it's still clear because the door is closed and you haven't made any noise yet. Tip 4. Don't be scared of top mid. Many players like to run across this area so that you can rotate really quick. However, if you wait in the smoke, you can probably try and catch good timing and pick one off. This will start to condition the enemy team so that way they either rotate the long way, which takes more time, or they'll have to walk across in fear that you might swing out and kill them. Another point, you should also try and make sure that there isn't a cypher trip or a vise wall here, so that way the enemy can't rotate without needing someone to watch mid. Swinging through the smoke can be a little 50-50, so pick and choose when you do this. You can also throw different top mid smokes like this or this, so that way you can pinch the sites from top mid as well as main. A lot of teams don't expect you to have multiple people pushing through mid to get to site this way. Last tip for attack. Use more mollies on site. People like to save their mollies, especially when they push B, because the post plant is super powerful, which is fine. You do want to save some of them, but you also need to use some of them when you're taking the site. The enemy has 3 angles that they can swing you from or hold you, so you need to molly something like market so that way they can't just hide in the smoke and spray. Using mollies limits the amount of areas you have to worry about when you're taking the site. Also, be careful of people holding above the smokes on B. It's very easy for enemies to get into these positions and can catch you off guard if you're not ready for them. Okay, let's move to defense. Tip 1. Push up on A. There's many different ways to fight A, and the point of fighting A, well yes, is to hopefully get a kill, but if you don't, that's okay. It's to use up the enemy util so that way they have less to take sight. The enemy team uses a flash, nade, boombot, and a drone just to clear main and elbow. They don't have a lot left to take the site. So see what util they're using, and if you know they have no stun or nades to push you off angles, try playing in rat spots so that way they have to fully use bodies to clear you. If you know they have flashes still, be ready to play anti-flash or even play off for a retake. So see what enemies are alive, see what util they've used, and make your best decision off that. Tip 2. Stop peeking mid. It's a very 50-50 angle and you should mainly just be jiggling for info. But if you want to fight mid, you should definitely have another teammate with you that's ready to flash or just swing together. Fighting mid is really inconsistent, and if you end up dying, it gives the enemy team just a free entryway into sites. Like if you die market, they can just quickly pinch B site and they have it for free. If you die top mid, they can take that space easily and then pinch A and wrap around. That being said, I think it is good to push mid though sometimes. Sunset's a map where you're very close to mid right off the bat, so it's easy to get into angles like in front of the door or like on this ledge right here to get good off angles if you're playing Reyna or like Chamber. It's also really easy to push because you are so close. It's easy to flash for your team. So if you want to push mid, I do think that's pretty good because like you can get a lot of info, or if the enemy team is just pushing mid a lot, it can punish them pretty easily. But I think peeking mid individually is on this map really bad. Tip number 3, holding on to backside B. B ideally is a pretty easy site to hold. You have a lot of different angles, you can spray through smokes, but let's say you're against a fucking good ass team that's using a lot of util and like clearing you so that way you can't spray, they're stunning you, flashing you, right? What should you be trying to do? Well, I think it's best to move your util back so that way you can just hold backside. If the enemy team can't get past to backside, it makes the retake a lot easier and still puts a lot of pressure onto the team while they're trying to plant or just from market. It forces them straight back into main to play post plant, and if it's pretty early on, it forces them to use their util really early, and then once they're back in main, you can just slowly push them out. If they do start pushing through this backside smoke by flashing through, it's okay to give it up because you can still hold it from the boxes in spawn, and it keeps them applying pressure so that way they can't set up into good crossfire positions. Reminder, these tips aren't the end all be all. This is just how I think Sunset should be played based off my ranked experience, but obviously every game is different, so take these tips with a grain of salt. Go gain RR. Peace.